Hello, my name is John Sayer, Technical Marketing Manager, Civil Infrastructure here at Autodesk. Today I'd like to take you through a workflow of establishing existing conditions, and we will use a combination of InfraWorks 360 and Civil 3D to achieve this. Establishing existing conditions is something that you do with every civil project. So the workflow that you see can be used over and over again on present projects and projects to come. So we're here in InfraWorks 360. We're going to use the model builder to generate our initial model. So I'm going to zoom in and select the location of my project. A little bit about this data set. This is a subdivision that has already been built. So there will be roads in this subdivision that come in from Model Builder. But we're going to show the workflow of how the design was done for this particular project. So my area is this general vicinity right here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select an area of interest, being right in that area right there. We're going to give it a name, Apple Springs. So we'll go ahead and name it Apple Springs. That's the name of our proposed project. Make sure that I'm in the correct group. And we will simply select Create Model. And we will wait for that model to be sent back to us. So once we see the model here in InfraWorks 360, we'll go ahead and select it and we'll download it to our local machine. So as you can see here, the area that we are concerned with is this area right here. We've got the design information that was used to generate this subdivision. We've got all that information here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select these roads and just delete them off. Because we're going to show the workflow of how we get those roads using InfraWorks 360. So now what I want to do, we've gotten some existing information from the surveyor. So we've got boundary information and we've also got existing contours for this project. So here in Civil 3D, I'll go ahead and get back into Civil 3D here. We've got our boundary and we've got our existing ground from our surveyor. So if I turn on the contours, just quickly, just to show you what I'm talking about, you can see that we have our existing ground surface here in Civil 3D. So now I want to bring that over to and populate my InfraWorks model with that information. So we're going to bring in the surface first, and then we're going to bring in the actual property boundary so that we can start to not necessarily create a presentation, but so that we can know where we're working inside of our InfraWorks 360 model. So I'm going to get back into InfraWorks here, and I'm going to attach to the Civil 3D model. So I'll go up and I will select Autodesk AutoCAD Civil 3D drawing that we're going to attach to, and it'll connect to the data source. Once the data source has connected, we're going to just exclude everything because we just have one surface that we want to bring in. We're going to bring in the EG from survey. All right, once that has been brought in, we can see we do have relief. We can see we have drainage paths, things of that nature. So now we want to define the property boundary inside of the InfraWorks model. So back in Civil 3D, I'm going to export out my boundaries. So I'm just going to type map export, and this is where we start to use the GIS tools inside of map 3D that sits inside of Civil 3D. So we'll call this boundary survey, and we will tell it that we want to select a polygon. We will select that polygon for the boundary, and it exports it out. I can jump right back into InfraWorks 360, and I can drag in that shapefile that we just dropped out. The only thing we have to do here is configure it to be a coverage. So we're going to make it a coverage, make sure that it's in the same geolocation, which it is. Make sure it's draped over the surface. We're going to give it a style of just some grass. So I'm going to go to Material, I'll select Grass, hit OK, and hit Close and Refresh. And now we have our boundary, and we have our surface. So we can look at it here, and we can see that the surface is defined very well, okay, because there was a couple holes here. You can see those definitely showing up. And if we pop back over to Civil 3D, we can see that this is the area that we're looking at right here. And you can see that there are those low points in the existing ground surface. So we have our property boundary represented with grass, and we also have our existing ground surface that was shot by the surveyor imported into the InfraWorks 360 model. So now the last thing I want to do is I'm going to go to the Home tab, and I'm going to start to include all of the people that I want to collaborate with this project. So I'm going to create a group, and I'm going to call it Apple Springs. I'm going to add a couple people that I want to collaborate with on this project. So I'll just go ahead and include Eric, make him an author, and I will include James and make him an author. Now they will have access in the InfraWorks 360 cloud to this model, and they can start adding to the model whenever they need to. And this concludes the establishing existing conditions portion of this workflow. We're going to have several of these videos coming up, so stay tuned for the next workflow video. We're going to add your own GIS data in that video. I thank you for watching and have a great day.